What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. So yesterday I released an amazingly strong Gambit build for the Titan. If you haven't seen it yet, you definitely should check it out. So today I'm going to introduce the Gambit build I most like to run when I play Hunter. Now, first off, this build is not just confined to Gambit. I used this build way back in the day to solo flawless a Pit of Heresy, specifically the Totem Encounter. The build centers around Combination Blow on Top Tree Arcstrider and pairing it with the exotic helmet Assassin's Cowl. So way back when, Assassin's Cowl dropped from completing the Shadowkeep campaign, I believe, and if I recall correctly, Assassin's Cowl would grant you invisibility when you used a finisher, but it got a rework to include powered melees. So now, the perk Vanishing Execution states powered melee final blows grant invisibility and restore a portion of health and shields. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the duration of the invisibility and the amount of health and shields restored. This exotic is exceptionally strong with Top Tree Arcstrider. Why? Because of two perks. The first is Combat Flow, where melee kills recharge your dodge ability. And the other perk, Combination Blow, which states, kill an enemy with this melee ability to trigger health regeneration and increase your melee damage temporarily. Stacks up to 3 times. So then, all we have to do is equip Gambler's Dodge, and this will give us our powered melee ability every time we dodge. So what happens is, you get a powered melee kill, go invisible, dodge near an enemy to get your powered melee ability back, melee another enemy. This will cause you to once again go invisible, as well as give you your dodge back from Combat Flow. Dodge again, melee, rinse repeat until everything is dead. The toughest part about this build is getting that first melee kill, which is why it is not great in things like Grandmaster Nightfalls, because you will probably die before you can get the combination rolling. But if you can, oh man, it is great. Like I said, I crutched on this build hard to beat the Totem Encounter for my first Pit of Heresy solo flawless run. It is great. And I posted that build on my channel in January, and it was able to help other people beat it. I also used this exotic to beat Niobe Labs back in the day, so trust me, this build has great utility. So now that we know the basics of the combat loop, let's make it even better with some mods. Elemental Well mods are extremely strong and in my opinion, quite underrated by the community. This build takes advantage of them big time. The first mod we want is Melee Well Maker. This will allow us to spawn an Elemental Well when we get a powered melee kill. When we pick up that well, we'll proc a couple of mods. First is Well of Ions, where picking up an Arc Elemental Well causes your next melee to deal increased damage. This damage buff is 30% to your next melee, and while it is overkill for red bars, it can come in very handy on higher health targets for sure. We will also proc Font of Might, which gives a temporary bonus to weapon damage of the same element type. So because we are on Arc subclass, we will make Arc Wells. Therefore, to take advantage of this mod, you also want to run Arc Weapons. We'll also proc Font of Wisdom, which raises our intellect to 100, giving us a faster passive super cooldown. So we have 3 mods that are taking advantage of one well, and we're picking up that well every time we get a powered melee kill, which is every couple of seconds. Additionally, I have Elemental Ordnance on to make wells with a grenade kill. But for even more survivability, you could run Elemental Charge to become Charged with Light, and Protective Light instead of something like Font of Might. It is up to you. So back to the helmet mods. You want your Assassin's Cowl to be Arc, because this will allow you to slot in the helmet mod hands-on. I know hands-on is available on the artifact this season, but it won't always be. You want to run 2 of these mods as they do stack. They allow you to gain bonus super energy on melee kills, so we will be getting our super extremely quickly, and this super is no slouch. It can clear whole sides of a Gambit arena in just one super, and between Font of Wisdom and double hands-on, you can often get 2 supers in a game of Gambit. On the arms, I have Impact Induction to gain grenade energy whenever we cause damage with a melee attack. There is a slight cooldown on this, but it basically allows us to spam our grenades. Because on the class item, we have Double Bomber, which gives us grenade energy anytime we dodge. And because this whole build centers around dodging and meleeing, you get that grenade back very quickly. I also like to run 100 Discipline to lower the grenade cooldown even more. So now that we have the mods out of the way, what do we run for weapons? Well, similarly to yesterday's build, we don't use our weapons very much, so I like to run Double Special. You can run a Blinding Grenade Launcher to blind the enemies to help you start the combo and get it going, or you can run a Sniper for dealing with floating enemies like the Meatball or Shriekers. That is this build's main weakness. Anything that is tough to punch really counters this build. Next, you want a 1-2 punch shotgun. This will buff our already strong melee. When we shoot an enemy and then punch it, that melee will deal 3 times more damage. And we are already buffed on our melee by more than 300% if we have Combination Blow ×3 going. And in most cases, we are buffed 30% more because Well of Ions is usually active. So this is awesome for dealing with high value targets or blocker knights. or even for smacking the primeval. So let's break down our buffs. Our powered melee deals 7103 damage, and then combination blow times 1 deals 11365, times 2 18184, and times 3 it deals 29094 damage. Those buffs are 1.6x for times 1 combination blow, 2.56x for times 2, and 4.1x at times 3. But we have melee well maker, so with every punch we will pick up a well, which will proc well of ions to give our melees another 30% damage buff. So at times 3 combination blow, our melee is now hitting for 37,822 damage. Then we buff this with the 3 times damage from 1-2 punch from our shotgun, and we punch for 113,465 damage. And don't forget about Font of Might giving our arc shotgun another 25% damage boost. So this build can hit very hard. And you can also debuff with Tractor Cannon if you like for another 30% more damage to take your single punch up to a whopping 147,505 damage. As you can see in the totems encounter though, the whole combination with 1-2 punch is really all you need for most majors in the game, so Tractor Cannon really isn't necessary with this build. This build really shines at ad clear, and it is probably the best build out there for medium tier difficulty stuff because it gives you so much breathing room. You can clear entire waves of enemies just by punching them out one at a time with basically no fear of death because they can never see you to hit you. That is why it is so great in Gambit. Gambit enemies can actually hit hard a lot of the time, and if you are the only person on a side because your teammates are invading and dealing with blockers, then oftentimes the ads will really gang up and focus fire you. But this build allows you to easily take out orange and yellow bars, all while being completely safe under the shroud of invisibility that Assassin's Cowl provides. I really don't have much more to say about it than that. I will throw the damage buffs on screen again so you can see how everything is working together. It isn't quite as strong as the Ashen Wake Gambit build, but I would say it is definitely safer. So for what it lacks in stopping power, it makes up for in survivability. And that isn't to say it doesn't still hit hard. The Titan build is just flat out busted. You should seriously try this build out for yourself. I've been using it since whenever it got the change to powered melee kills granting invisibility. Not only did it help me get my first solo flawless clear of Pit of Heresy, but it also allowed me to easily and safely clear those underground bunkers solo in Season of the Worthy. As long as I have an invader on my team and someone to deal with invaders in Gambit, then I can basically be a one-man wrecking crew just chewing through the waves of enemy spawns. And we have a Gambit rework coming in Witch Queen, so this build may even become more useful. So like I said, give it a try for yourself and then let me know how you like it. If you made it this far into the video, then I thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for another fun arc build on the Warlock tomorrow. Unlike the last 2 Gambit builds, this one actually involves using weapons for a change. See ya then. Take care.